All right, we are looking at, this is CC3, and we're looking at CC3 Section 3.1.4, number 340. Okay, so 340 asks us to do some proportional reasoning. So it says Peggy Sue decided to enter her famous 5-alarm chili at her local chili cooking contest. Normally, she needs 5 tomatoes to make enough chili for her family of 7. So right there, I can write a ratio: 5 tomatoes for what? 7 people. It's her family of 7, so I could just say 7 people. 5 tomatoes for 7 people. That is my ratio. That is my given ratio. I don't know what I was trying to write there. I was trying to write ratio. So my given ratio is 5 tomatoes for 7 people. Okay. It says, how many tomatoes should she expect to use to make her famous recipe for 100 people? So we know 5 tomatoes for 7 people. What I want to know is how many tomatoes, right, for 100 people. So this is our situation. There's a couple ways to do this, but the one way that I like to look at this is as a proportion, right? If I have a ratio and I need to make it or convert it into another ratio, I have an equation I could build here, a proportional relationship that 5 to 7 is equal to x to 100, right? I need to figure out what x is. So my proportional relationship, 5 tomatoes to 7 people, x tomatoes to 100 people, now is written as that equation. 5 over 7 is equal to x over 100. And when you're given an equation that is a proportion, we can use cross multiply to solve, right? So it becomes 7x. The equal sign just continues down the line, equals, so 7 times x equals 5 times 100, which is 500. So now I have 7x equals 500, and I can take and divide both sides by 7 to get my x alone. So 500 divided by 7. If we're doing the math, let me just do it on the side just to remind ourselves how to do long division. Okay, doing long division, 7 goes into, well, we'll look at it 5, no, 50, yes, 7 times, multiply, 49, subtract, bring down the 0, 7 goes into 10 once, multiply, subtract, and then we can add a decimal to continue this on and bring down the 0. And when I add the decimal in my answer, or in my problem, I also need to add the decimal in the answer. So and then I look at 7 goes into the 30 there. That would be 4 times, multiply, I get 28, subtract, I get 2, bring down another 0. I'll go a couple places. 7 goes into the 20 twice. It gives me 14, subtract, I get 6. So at this point, I can look at this as approximately 71.4 or 0.42, 42 hundredths would be my answer for my x. I'm just going to approximate what my x is. Okay. So that being said, if I'm asking the question of how many tomatoes I need, well, I would never really try to come up with a 4/10 or 42 hundredths of a tomato. So in order to make sure I'm going to cook for 100 people, I would then round this. So I absolutely, for 100 people, she needs, what do we need? So we need not 71, but 72 tomatoes. Okay, so there's my answer. Ooh, let me move that up. So for 100 people, she needs 72 tomatoes. We had to round up that to get a whole tomato out of that. So that's the process for A. Okay, so this was the process for A. So how do we do B? So B, we're going to look at B now. B says, When she gets to the contest, she realizes that she only packed 52 tomatoes. She needed 72. She only packed 52. So how many people can she expect to feed? So again, our original, we knew that it was 5. Our original ratio was 5 tomatoes for 7 people. But now, what do I know? She has 58 tomatoes, so I put the 58 tomatoes on top. And I need to know how many people will that feed? Will she be able to make chili for? So here's another ratio with an set as a proportion. So once again, I could say 5 over 7 is equal to 58 over x. In this case, my x is the number of people. So I can do the cross multiplying again to solve for that missing variable. So I end up with 7 times 58, which is 406, is equal to 5x. Okay, and then from there, we're looking to get x by itself. So I'll divide out the coefficient to get x alone. So x equals, in this case, I'm going to divide this one as a fraction. I want to show you that as well. If you're going to divide and put it in a fraction, a mixed number format, you do the same thing, do the division to figure out how many wholes it goes in. So I can look at this as 5 goes into 48 times, multiply, I get 40, subtract 0, bring down the 6. 5 goes into 6 once, multiply, I get 5. I'm doing a long division, but I want to keep my remainder, right? Remember doing this? Now that I have my remainder, we would actually take that remainder and becomes the new numerator. So this, and then my denominator is what I divided by. So this is 81 and 1/5. So I can write it in fraction form instead of decimal form. So 81 and 1/5. So once again, if I'm looking at that being people, so 58 tomatoes, how many people would that be? Well, in this case, I'm not going to round up because I can only make enough chili with those 58 tomatoes for 81 and a fifth of a person. So not enough as a whole, and I wouldn't round up. In this case, because I'm talking about people and how much I have to feed them, I'm going to round down. So the question would be that the answer would be that she can expect to feed 81 people with those 58 tomatoes. Okay. So she can expect to feed 81 people with the 58 tomatoes. All right. Hope that helped.